get stuck right into it. So hello everyone, I'm Simon, CEO and founder of Ninjodo, and thank you all for coming along. Today we're going to be looking at a bunch of different things, but most of all focusing around getting to the bottom of our inboxes that seem to just take us over from time to time. We all know it's an essential part of business, but we do need to do it. So before we start things off, just letting you know, most of you have already found it. Over there on the right-hand side of the webinar is the chat box. You can say hi, you can answer questions as we go, you can ask questions as we go. We want to make this as two-way as possible because that means that you're going to get a lot more out of it and it's going to be a lot more fun for everybody. So we can already see chat. So if you've got questions as we're going, just fire them through. We've got Alina there monitoring chat as well, and I'll be checking in periodically at certain points just to make sure we're covering everything. We will stay around as long as you like when the webinar is finished, and we're going to do a more in-depth chat session towards the end as well. Any of you that have already been on here before will know that everyone who is attending will get a copy of Escaping the Rat Race ebook. Now that's been set up to fire out just a couple of hours after we finish. So if you don't receive that for any reason, you've got my email, you've got the training webinar email. So just hit reply and let us know that you haven't received that and we'll make sure you get a copy. So just to go through the different things we're actually going to be covering today. Firstly, I want to show you through Google Apps for Work, which is very similar to Gmail if you're familiar with it. With that also comes a slew of other products and suites that you can use in your business. Now I'm going to show you both because they are actually the same platform. There is Gmail, which is free, and there is Gmail, which is paid, and I'll highlight the differences and why you might want to use one over the other, but ultimately showing you why it's a great thing to actually have in your business. Next, we're going to be going then through Ninjodo itself and doing a full overview of using the inbox properly. We'll then go through sending emails from anywhere in the system to make sure that you are not just going to a single area, but you realize the full power of where you can send emails from. We'll touch again on email templates and go into a little bit more depth than we did last week. And finally, we'll finish off with professional signatures. And there's also, fortunately, a little surprise I get to show you. I know, Sandy, you're on the call. This will be your early birthday present, as we were discussing. So we'll leave that for the end. All right, so getting started, Google Apps for Work. If you can jump over onto the right-hand side chat box and just let me know if you're already using Google Apps, which is the paid version of Google and Gmail, or whether you're using an @Gmail account for free, or perhaps you're not using either. Alina, if you can just tend to Sarah and Mel there. I think Mel's having a little bit of technical difficulties. She might need to just go back and close down the browser and restart the links. All right, so when we think of the Google tools, we want to think about, okay, well, what exactly are we getting if we're going to go down this path? Well, quite simply, you get all of the fundamental basic building block tools that you need in your actual business. So that obviously starts with email. It's a crucial tool. We probably run most of our communication with our clients, anything that's not actually face-to-face or over the phone. There are three primary mediums. So you get an email suite within it. You also get your calendar, which means that you can have your calendar on your desktop. You can have your calendar on your phone wherever you're out and about. You can also be sharing calendars with other people in your business or in your team. So if you need to see whether someone else is available, you're able to actually do that. You've also got Word docs, spreadsheets, PowerPoints, three key programs that Microsoft made really exclusively for business, and we've all learned to leverage off and require. So they've also got this included. You've also got Google Drive, which allows you to have online file storage and backup of all your client templates, all of your business documents, any proposals, agreements, contracts. Literally any file that's important in your business can now be safely backed up online, and you can get it from anywhere, including your phone when you're out and about. You can also do video calls through Google's tools and even run webinars. Many of you may not realize what we're actually doing is running a Google Hangout with Webinar Jam wrapped around it. So it's a very, very cool way of being able to communicate with your customers, with your ultimate market out in the marketplace, but also even just internal team chat and meetings if you're running from multiple locations. Finally, in there you get the all famous and sometimes infamous social media and SEO benefits, and they come from two different avenues. You've got Google Plus, which is a social media channel. If you're not familiar with it, it's very similar to Facebook or LinkedIn, but it actually has its own SEO benefits, and Google puts a lot of weighting to listings within its own family of products. So if you actually have your business set up on a Google Plus page, whilst you may not have a lot of followers, especially in Australia, where it's not quite as big, you do get a lot of SEO benefit out of it when people are searching for your business, and it does count as another backlink to your website, which is very important. The other one that you get is actually a YouTube channel. So if you've spent any time on the internet, you've probably come across YouTube, and you'll know that you can use it as a very powerful tool for, one, learning about things, two, putting your own videos up, again, for that SEO benefit, but also giving people the opportunity to see what you're about. The beauty with YouTube is you can take those videos that you put on your YouTube channel and actually come back and embed them on your website, such as a homepage or a blog, and people can watch them there. And that's going to actually give you counts up on YouTube, but also give you more content on your website, and Google and the other search engines will enjoy seeing that. Now, as I touched on briefly, you can actually get all of this stuff for free just by going and getting a @gmail.com website, email address. You actually get every single product in there without any problems. Or for as cheap as $5 a month, I mean, they couldn't have made it any cheaper and still been profitable. You can get everything in a more professional sense. And I'll go through some of the differences between the two of those now. So why is it a good idea to be on either of these? Well, firstly, it means that you're never, ever going to lose any of these things ever again. You won't lose emails. It won't matter if your computer crashes or overheats or has a virus or gets stolen or breaks. All of your data is then held up in the cloud. You can access your emails, your calendars, your documents, your storage. All of this stuff is accessible anywhere from any device at any time you ever need. And that's really, really powerful, especially if, as an entrepreneur, you want to make sure that you're starting to get a bit more of a mix between work and play. You're able to actually take some time away from the office, either on holiday or even just heading down to the shops, to be able to keep in touch in case anything urgent comes through. So it's a really big benefit to getting to that point of freedom and getting off the entrepreneurial rat race of being stuck in the business, working 100-hour weeks that don't seem to get you anywhere. The most important difference between the free and the paid version of Google Apps is you actually get your professional email address, which is your name at yourdomain.com, but you still get all of the benefits of Gmail with its incredible search, its really fast servers, its backup, and everything online. Some of you watching this may be in a situation where you use your hosting provider. When you bought your domain name or perhaps even your website, you got email hosting at the same time. And you probably downloaded that via something that's called POP3 or IMAP. Now, not to go into the complexities of that, but it basically means that your domain manager or your hosting manager have all your emails on that hosting, and while ever you're paying for that, you've got it. But it does start to create a little bit of a problem when you're trying to access it from your phone in addition to your laptop or a computer. And it certainly doesn't give you access to it from any other computer anywhere else. If you're out in even a library or a co-working space or on a friend's computer or at somebody else's house, and you need to just quickly check something, you can't do that unless you're on a platform like this. Alternatives to Google would be Office 365, which is the cloud version of Microsoft's suite of Outlook and that type of stuff. But if you've had anything to do with either of them, as we have, we would definitely stand behind Google. It is cheaper, it is easier to be supported on, and it's much quicker to get going and have that ongoing support. Another good reason is it's stupidly easy to use. There's all the power of great features that you need, but they're not cluttering up your workspace. If you need to do more advanced things, you can go and get to those from different toolbars or in your settings areas. But the main place that you're wanting to be staying, which is on the actual tool, sending the email, setting a calendar invite, is really nice and clean and free from clutter. So you're not getting overwhelmed with where to go and what to do, and it's not a big learning curve to get used to these things. And finally, but definitely not least, especially with small business owners and getting your business running, cost is important. We want to keep that in mind. So being able to get all of this for free or even $5 a month per inbox, you pick whichever one's going to work best for you. It seems to me to be a no-brainer, and we run all of our companies through it. Okay, so what happens if you go free compared to if you go paid? So firstly, if you're going free, you're not going to get the domain name of your business or website as your email address. So for example, we use Google Apps here at Ninjodo, so I get simon@ninjodo.com, and we can set up all of the other inboxes that we need within minutes. So info and training and support and all of those emails are really easy for us to set up. If we were using Gmail for free, we would have to do simon.ninjodo@gmail.com, and it would seem like a personal account and it wouldn't be very professional as a business. I dare say that when you see those emails coming through, you think not quite as much as someone who's actually got their full domain name for their emails and their calendar invite meetings. Second, you still get all of the benefits, so there's no problem with that. You still get everything up in the cloud, you get it nice and fast, you get it on all your devices. It's really easy to get going and get set up. Just before the webinar, about 30 minutes before, we were setting up some test email accounts because today we're showing you all things email in Ninjodo, so I needed to be able to load up an email. It took about 1 minute to set up an @gmail.com account, so no barriers to entry there. You can be up and running quite quick. Now I just need to mute myself while I cough, so hold on one sec. And we're back. Thank you. All right, and finally, it's actually even easier to get set up with an @Gmail account than doing Google Apps. There are pros and cons for either, and you can go either route. So what happens if you actually go paid? Well, Google then essentially becomes your email server. All of your emails run through Google, which, as you know, are the fastest servers in the world, the most artificially advanced and intelligent servers in the world. You also get the benefit of extremely powerful search through your inbox. If you've ever been using Outlook and tried to search for an email, it can be a real pain in the butt. But Google, being built from its actual search engine, has all of that impressively quick and powerful technology built into its inbox and its calendar and its document suite when you're looking for different things. So getting that stuff back quickly and without having to hunt around is a really, really powerful benefit as a small business owner. Second, you actually get Google becoming your spam protector. So all of their advanced algorithms are then filtering all emails that come through to check for offers from money being deposited into your account from princes in Africa, all the way down to stupid emails that we get day to day. It even helps to start uncluttering your inbox by getting certain things out that you don't need to be paying attention to, and tries to give you what's called a priority inbox and allow you to just focus on your customers and those real ones, and then look at your marketing emails separately when you've got time. It's still easy to get set up. It is mostly automated. I helped someone go through this process the other day. They had GoDaddy for their domain name, which they bought on the phone with me. They bought hosting with that same provider, and then we went over to Google Apps for Work and signed them up. And that whole process happened by just following the prompts. Click next, choose your provider, and everything was done automatically, and it might have taken about 20 or 30 minutes. So not a big deal to get those things going. You can still get up and running, as I just said. We did it within an hour. Okay, so how do you actually get started with either of these methods if you want to go down this path? Well, if you want to go the free option, when we finish the webinar or whenever you've got time, just open up your browser, type in gmail.com and sign up for an account. Even if you don't have one, it's great to just have that there as a test, see what's the difference between having that and what you may already be on. If you want to go with the paid route and get your professional domain name, you can go into Google search and just type Google Apps for Work, and that will give you the link straight to the Google Apps for Work area, and you can have a look, see a little bit more detail than what we've gone through today, watch a few videos and choose to sign up. So how does all of that tie in with Ninjodo? I'm not here plugging Google Apps to make money. I just know that it is a fantastic tool and it's extremely cost effective and powerful and allows you to scale your business. We've aligned our product with Google Apps for that very reason. We are constantly looking for tools out there that can help you, that are, one, simple and easy to use, two, are thinking ahead of the curve and are actually trying to work well with a good suite like Google Apps, like Xero, like Ninjodo, and bring that all together to just make your job a lot easier and help you get to that point of freedom as an entrepreneur. So there are three main ways that we tie Google Apps or Gmail into Ninjodo. One is through the Google Calendar. And this means that any event that you are creating or editing or deleting in Ninjodo is also going to sync out to your Google Calendar. Okay, so it's really, really beneficial there. You're not getting stuff set up across two different systems. Google Drive, which is the all-encompassing word to talk about the online file storage, the Word documents, the spreadsheets, and the PowerPoint presentations, they are all sitting under Google Drive, and we tie that into the actual sales and project area of Ninjodo. So when you have a sale or a deal or a project you're working on, quite often there are files that need to start being associated with that. If you're working in any kind of space, you might have a sale of contract, you might have an agreement, you might have images or documents or files that you need to get from your client that you'd like to keep housed in one area, so you know that everything that was worked on is right there in one spot and you're not fragmented on your own computer or in your inbox looking for attachments that you've received. And then thirdly, probably the most important one is Gmail, which is actually the email back and forth. And you can do both of those through Ninjodo. You don't actually need to be out of Ninjodo to use any of these tools, which is even more incredible. So before I jump in and help show you everything, but also how we get to the bottom of our inbox, I did say in the email this week that we wanted to try and help you get on top of that thing, because it can feel like you can get 100 or 150 or even 200 emails a day, and getting to the work that actually matters in your business can sometimes feel impossible when you're spending 3 or 4 hours doing email. In response to the email that we sent out earlier in the week, these were some clever and funny and wise words that came back from a good friend of mine over at Mondo Talk. I thought the answer to that question was, learn there is no bottom, so just prioritize our work. Then you will see it is you that has the bottom and not the inbox. A nice little joke there, but I think there's actually a lot of merit into that second line of learn there is no bottom and just prioritize our work. So let's jump into Ninjodo and we'll get started going through different things. If you've got any questions along the way, as I've always said, just let me know. So for those of you who don't know, if you want to get logged in, you just go on to ninjodo.com and I'm going to click on login. And then I'm going to punch in a new account that we set up this morning to be able to demonstrate all of this to you. And of course, I need to make sure that I can remember the password that I just set up. And where we're going to go to alrighty. Thank you for your patience. See, it even happens to the best of us. If any of you are having actual problems with a bit of a blurry screen, it's to do with your connection and us trying to broadcast live. Sometimes just give it a few seconds, it will catch up. Try and close down any other program that might be using the internet, like Dropbox syncing or a mail program or anything like that that could be calling the internet periodically backwards and forwards. Give that a go, and if you're not able to get through with a better screen, you can also, I think Alina will be able to help with a link to the YouTube channel, which should be broadcasting it live right now. So right now on the screen, we're actually looking at the Ninjodo inbox, and along the top here is our main navigation. So we've got our dashboard, which we're looking at now, which is going to be all around tasks. And if you have Google Calendar and you've connected it, that's going to be coming into play. So I'm going to show you how to make sure that that's actually connected properly, and then we'll see how it actually links out. Next, we've got the inbox, which we'll go into shortly. So you can have your entire Gmail or Google Apps inbox inside Ninjodo. You never need to log into it. You can actually run everything from in here. What I'll do is actually, we'll get started with the Google Calendar. So first, in order to make sure that any tasks that I create here in Ninjodo goes to my Google Calendar as well and syncs up for me, so I'm always on top of things, I just need to go into my integrations area and actually connect the two. So to do that, all I need to do is come in, click on my admin settings. Now, one thing I'm going to have to do is just do a quick jump into incognito so that I don't get booted out of this webinar by logging in with a different account. So 1 second. All right, fantastic. So I've now gone into my admin area and I'm looking down the left-hand side admin menu and I'm going to look for integrations. And this will have a list of all of the programs that you can currently connect to with Ninjodo. Now, at the moment, it's telling us that everything is off or not connected except Facebook. So first thing we want to do is come down and find the calendar, and I actually want to turn that on. So I do that just by clicking the little toggle switch, and it takes me over to Google. Now, what this is actually doing is telling me to sign in with the Google account that I have that I want to be synced up with Ninjodo. So again, that's going to be our customer sensei email. And you can see it's the @ninjodo.com email address. So not at Gmail, it's much more professional. I click on next, and then I need to put in my password and click sign in. And then what it does is present me with a screen which is just telling me what Ninjodo is going to be able to do as a result of connecting here. So we want it to manage our calendar and we want it to be able to view our calendar, and that's going to allow the task to come backwards and forwards. So I'll click on allow. And we get taken straight back to the screen which we were on, but we can see one difference: calendar is now on. So now any task that I create in here, if I create it, I edit it, or I delete it, it will actually go out to my calendar, be changed in my calendar, or go off my calendar if I need it to. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is actually just click on the icon here, and that's going to give me a few options. So if I look down now, many of you may not have seen this because it only came out earlier in the week, is sync settings. Now, what this is going to do is allow you to choose what tasks and reminders you actually want to go into your Google Calendar compared to just things that are, mental reminders for you that you just want to stay in Ninjodo. So by default, when you set your account up, you've got a few different things: follow up, meeting, phone call, and to do. And we would assume that meeting and phone call are the things you need to be reminded of in your Google Calendar across all of your devices. So they're enabled by default. But if you also wanted your follow-ups to be set into your calendar, or your demonstrations, or any other task type that you choose to create, all we need to do is just come over here and click toggle. Now what I'll do is perhaps do follow-up. And that is now enabled. And so any task that's a follow-up that's in the future is now going to be syncing, no problems at all. If I look down the bottom of that box, it shows me that we have me logged in, plus any of the other users in the account. Now I can see that I'm authorized with Google Calendar, but the other two users in the account are not. So just make sure that everyone's gone in, had this link clicked, and that their calendar is actually connected, and then they'll have their task going backwards and forwards without any problem. So given that, what we could do is actually go into a contact record, and I've just gone in, clicked on people. I'll go into, let's say, John Smith. And I might just go into a different record, actually. Let's go into Logan's record here. And I want to create a new task. So all I've done is go over to the left-hand side. I've looked under schedules. I can see schedule a new. I'm going to choose follow-up. And we'll set that for, let's say, tomorrow at a certain time, 10 a.m. And it's just a quick 15-minute call to make sure he got things that I sent and we're moving forward. Now I've just clicked on more options here. You can see that again next to the Save Changes button. And sometimes all you need to do are these few little things, but you may also want to put in an address if this was a meeting face-to-face with somebody. You might want to put in something in the description field, give you a bit more information, or give Logan a bit more information about this meeting. I might need to put my agenda or something like that in. Attendees will allow me to invite other people in the business that Logan's a part of. So if I need to invite the reception or a sales consultant or an admin or somebody else that's a contact point for me, I can add more. But That's telling me that there are no more contacts found in this business. Logan's the only one. And finally, down the bottom, who in our business, my business or your business, is responsible for this actual meeting. So this could be a phone call that I've taken and Logan said, can someone please follow up with me? But it may not be my job role. It may actually be assigned to a different person. So I can click under assign to and give it to somebody else. Or I could even have it as part of both of us if we're both attending that meeting or that task. So I'll just leave it as me for now. And then finally, there is one more thing there which says send invite. So if this is a task just for me, I'll leave that unticked. If this is actually a phone call or a meeting or something that I want to make sure that Logan pays attention to and shows up for, I want to increase that likelihood of it happening by sending an invite. And this is a really good thing to do with follow-up calls, with phone calls with anybody for any particular reason. You want to make sure that they have your task in their calendar so that they respect your time and don't forget. People get busy. If it's in their tasks, they're more likely to stick to it and not forget and be prepared for it. So then all I'll do is click Save Changes. I've now created my follow-up task for tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. and that will make sure it goes out to my calendar. So that a little bit of an overview of how the calendar works, how it syncs up. Next one we want to touch on is Google Drive. So how did all of those things, when we talk about documents and files and attachments, get synced up? So if we were to look at an actual resource, now I'm going to go under the particular, and we'll come into the resources area, and this is where you're going to track your sales, your deals, your projects, call them whatever you like in your business, but this is the area that you put them in. And I'm going to find, let's say, blinds and awning installation. So this is a deal that I'm working on, and it has perhaps a quote sheet, a bill of materials for ordering products, all sorts of different stuff. I'll come in here and click on attachments and files, and that allows me to activate Google Drive here. So I need to put a few documents either from my computer, or I may already have them in Google Drive because I got them via email or they sent them to me or I already had them there. All I need to do then is just click on Google Drive. Because this is the first time I'm doing this, it's wanting me to authenticate and do the connection. So I'll come here, click on Allow. Takes me straight back to that same screen and loads up my drive, which is my Google folder with all of my files in it. Now, this is a brand new account, so it has no documents in it whatsoever. I could also look at the shared with me section. Anyone else that uses Google or Google Apps for Work, if they create a Word document and they send it to me, they can actually, instead of downloading the attachment, sending the email, they can just add me as someone who can see that document. And I can actually open up their document in their account with the level of control that they've given me. So I could perhaps just look at the document and not be able to touch it. I could have the opportunity to make comments on that document and not affect the actual core document. Or perhaps we're doing a bit of a project or a brainstorming and we both need to be able to type on that document at the same time. And I can do that as well. Now, if anyone wants me to show you how that works, just let me know. And if we've got time, I'll make sure I cover it. And the third one over here is the ability to actually upload files that I've got on my computer. So if it's chances are these documents you're getting created locally on your machine or in your office, and you actually then want to attach them to the files that you're working on. So I'm just going to come in here and I'll find a dummy document that I can put on. And I might just grab a resume, any example is fine. That's going to upload the document and I can see that it's been linked. So if I go over to my drive, I can now see that document. So what I did was actually, it happened so quick you may not have realized, I took a document from my computer, I attached it into Google Drive and had it linked to this particular deal or sale or project. So I can close that down now, open up the attachments and files, and I can see a list of all the files that have ever needed to be added to this particular project. And that's really good if you need to go back and look at something historically, or if you've got more than one person in your business and they need to be able to refer to things as well. This allows you a single place to put all of the information relating to these records. And I'll do that one more time, upload something else, and let me grab, let's just say, a picture, signature, that uploads, and it's linked. Close that, and we can see it down the bottom. So you can put as many files on there as you need. They're all backed up in your Google Drive. You can also access them by going into Google Drive. So over to Google we're going now. I've just opened up a new tab. And we might look at that later. Make sure that my broadcasting speed is working okay. Okay, so that covers off Google Drive. Actually, there we go. Can have a look now, reload. All right, I think my connection is struggling a little bit to push all of this information up, so I'll leave that alone. But it gives you an idea of what you can do with Google Drive. All of these products come for free with the suite that you're using. So if you're already on Google Apps, Sandy, for example, I know you're on Google Apps, you get all of this stuff already. The next one that we would like to add in there, Sarah, yes, good question, is Dropbox. They just handle things a little bit differently, and we've been working on a few other cool things that we just got to get back to it. If you go with the free Gmail, and all you want is just some online document storage, you can actually use gmail.com and still have online document storage in your Google Drive account, even if you're using Dropbox for different things. There are pros and cons for both. We've gone with Google Drive for now because it allows a lot of flexibility and sharing of those documents with other people, and it doesn't matter if they get moved around. So we've covered Google Calendar, we've covered Google Drive. Let's dive in now to the whole world of email. Now, let's just jump over into the chat box. Give me an idea of how many hours a day you feel as a business owner you are spending doing email, especially if that means that you're in your inbox the whole time, clicking for the next one, hitting refresh, reacting to things that are coming in. Just jump over to the chat box, type in how long you feel you might spend that in a day or even in a week, and I'm just going to take a drink. Okay, so what we'll do, I'll now come into the inbox area of Ninjodo, and this will be the first time I've gone in here. So I'll click on inbox, and as you might have expected, like with Google Calendar, like with Google Drive, it hasn't recognized that I've connected to this service before, so it just wants me to do that once. So I'll click in on allow, and that says, yes, let Ninjodo view and manage my emails. Now what that means is it's only going to do things that I tell it to. Ninjodo won't automatically go and send emails for you or anything like that. This is you saying, I need to do this stuff from Ninjodo so I've got all of my stuff in one place. So I'll click allow. And we've got some responses to that question coming through. Wow, 5+ hours a day just working on email. That is an incredible amount of time to be in one area on your business. And I can imagine, because when I started consulting all those years ago, I would easily spend the same amount of time in my inbox. So what I'm going to do today, we'll give you an overview of the inbox, but I'm also going to show you 2 or 3 different ways that you could try to approach to not let email dictate your time, and see how you go with those. You could try one, see how it works, try another, see how it works. So we've authorized, we're now back in the inbox. We can see down the left-hand side of the screen at the moment where most of the things are. So straight away, I've got the option to search my email. Now I can do that by any particular keyword that I can think of. I know I sent an email or received an email and it had this word in it. I'm going to take a guess. I haven't seen any of these emails except what we loaded up this morning, so I might type the word, well, what I'll do is I'll put Bruce. I just need any email to come back with the word Bruce in it, and it gives me 4 straight away, and I can look through those. You'll also see that as I type Bruce, I got another thing pop down. Now, it recognizes that there is a Bruce in Ninjodo as a contact record, and I may have 40 different Bruces, and I'm looking for a particular one. So it gives me the option of picking a particular contact record. Now, obviously, if I was to type click on this now, it's going to go and get the messages, but it will be exactly the same. We've just got one Bruce that sent emails into this account. I can jump back in and I can type Alina. And then we've got all of these different emails that have come through from Alina. Now, as I do that search, it's not thinking about what tags you've got or labels or unread or inboxes. It's just getting every single email in your inbox that you've ever received that matches that keyword. What I'm going to do is now come down to the next line and just click on unread, because all I want to do is look at my unread emails so that I can process them and get on with my day. And that should be a goal, that you never have unread emails sitting in your inbox. It can be pretty scary if you've got a lot that have just built up over time. And one of the methods that you can deal with this, it's very liberating, but also extremely frightening at the same time, is just to, within your inbox, select all and mark as read. If something is actually important enough, you'll definitely receive another email about it, no doubt about it. All right, so on the left here, I've got two options of viewing my inbox. I can just look at the ones that are unread, which if I've been on top of my inbox should only be the things I need to look at, or I can actually look at just my entire inbox and see every email in the order that they came in, just like you would expect in Gmail or Outlook or any other email program. Along the right-hand side of that, I've actually got the option to view by label. Now, in Outlook, this might be a folder. In Gmail, this is a label. And it allows me to pick any labels that I've created, but also the ones that Google has created automatically. And so this one, a smart filter, this is actually the prioritizing of emails to only show me the ones that Google thinks are real important emails. So if we were to click that, chances are at least this top one might disappear. Yep, good guess. So it's taken out an email that wasn't relevant, that Google didn't think I needed to waste time on, and allows me to look at that later if I ever need to. I'm going to just go back to the normal inbox. I want to see everything for now. On the right-hand side of that allows me to quickly delete emails that I don't need to see or process anymore or keep saved for searching later. So if I wanted to get rid of some of these emails, let's say this first one, I can just click on this tick box, and I can do this one by one, or I could actually do multiple ones. I can come down, select them all, hit trash, and that will delete those completely. It won't permanently delete them. What it will do is actually put them in my trash folder, and that will stay there for about 30 days before it goes missing, and then I can't get it back. So if you accidentally delete something that you didn't mean to, you can still go and get it back. And you can do that actually from these ones here on the left-hand side. So what I'll do is actually just delete that first one. Deleting message, done, it's out of my way. And then I'll show you how you can then get back to that inbox, sorry, your trash folder, by clicking on trash, and we can see the one that we've already deleted. So it's there if you need it. It will just drop off eventually. A couple of other buttons down here on the left. One is the ability to just type a fresh new email. So I click on that. I get my compose window. I can start typing an email to say Bruce, and it's going and finding anything that's matching what I'm typing from a contact record perspective. So if I click on Bruce, I can give him, hi, how's it going? Testing an email, and I'm able to then go and send it. Now, this window that we've got open now is actually the same across the rest of the system. So if I'm anywhere in Ninjodo and I need to send an email, this is what I get. I've got the option down here to choose email templates, which we'll touch on a bit later. And these are just templates that I might need to send again and again for different reasons. They could be for gentle reminders for people. We've got one here that if I call and I get a voicemail, I need to quickly fire off an email to that person and say, hey, I tried to call you, can you give me a ring back? Just so that they know in case they haven't checked it yet. Okay, screen, I'm just getting chat through here. So screen resolution too big, need to change it. Don't know how I can do it. There should be an option to zoom in on your screen a little bit as well. If you're watching at home and things are a little bit too zoomed out and a bit hard to read, you could do that in the browser. Now, if I was to come up here, if I'm in Chrome or any browser, Safari, Firefox, etc., they'll have different zoom options. So it might be in a menu at the top, or it might be over here on the right. Look for something under Edit or View and looking for Zoom, and I can hit plus and push in like that. Now, that distorts what's on my screen, so I might go with a slight increase at my end, and then if you're having it a bit too small at your end, just increase it so that you can see things. I've also got the option to, when you send an email, you might need to do a CC or a BCC or anything like that. These are here when you click on the more options. So I can type, and I want to make sure that Lucius Fox also gets a copy. I can do a blind copy as well. So if I need someone from my department or team to actually get that, I can make sure that they're getting a copy. Now you notice as I type, it's not bringing me back any results. So if I know that I need to send a copy to someone else's email address, but they're not a contact record in Ninjodo, I can still type the email address and they can get a copy even though the note won't save on that person. So that can happen from time to time if you need to include a contractor or a third party or even just someone from your team and they're not in here, but you want to get them a copy, you can type the address as well as linking to the actual contact record. Just below here, there's actually another one called Save a Copy To. Now what this is for is when you need to send an email, sometimes you actually need a copy of that email saved to a different contact record. So an example of this might be if you're talking with a supplier on behalf of a customer or a deal that you're working on, you're sending that email to the supplier or the contractor, but you also want that, because it relates to the contact, to be saved over on their page as well. So let's say I'm sending an email to Bruce and Lucius, and we're talking about Clark Kent, Mr. Superman, our friend. So I can actually have a copy of this email saved over on Clark's record as well, but he won't get a copy of the email because I'm not sending it to him. All I want is this email to be put on his note feed. It's really, really handy when you're working in that kind of three-way space with different people. We've also got the option to create attachments. Click on that, pick anything off my computer. We'll just use our documents, resume. Just get a small one from here. And that will just attach like you would expect any other program. Once you're ready, you can hit send. If you didn't mean to do this, you don't need it anymore, you can either dismiss it from the top right or use the trash icon at the bottom. So I'm just going to send this one anyway. Okay, and that email's gone off. Fantastic. So moving on with the rest of this demo, I have been seeing some questions come through, so let me just check in on that. So one from Sandy, Simon, how come sometimes people don't populate? I have a person in the system, but her email address never auto-populates. So it depends on how you're typing, and I'm assuming you mean if you go here, you go up to the address, you start typing that person and they don't seem to come up. It can happen for a few different reasons. If you're logged into Ninjodo for a long time and it's been maybe 2 or 3 hours and you haven't done anything, Ninjodo will actually expect that you may not be near your computer, you've gone away, and it will lock down your account just so that the session expires and requires you to log in again. So if that happens, when you go to type, nothing will be coming up in this field here because it's actually got no real connection because it's tried to protect your data in your account and just log out. So if that happens, if that's the case, what you can do is close this down. And I'm just going to pop open a new tab of Ninjodo, and you'll be logged out. So let's say I go here, I log out. You can still see this screen open. But now if I try and go and search for someone, there's searching, 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 it's spinning. It looks like nothing's happening. It's because on another page, I've actually gone and logged out of the system. So what I'm going to do is log myself back in, and we're under this account. I've now recreated my secure connection to Ninjodo. And if I try and do a search again, there are my results. So they come back that way. That's the most common reason why something won't come up. The other thing could be if you start typing too much. See, it's actually, I've started typing into the first name and the last name, but it's not finding that Simon Ogilvy Lee is in there. It's just wanting one or the other. Find your first name or find your last name. So if I'll go to Simon Ogilvy Lee. I'll just type Ogilvy Lee. It looked at my last name. It found a match. So you can try that as well. If it's not either of those, you've tried both, then flick a ticket through to support and we can jump in and have some one-on-one time, make sure that we're getting to the bottom of that for you. So this shows you how to do the actual composing when you're in the inbox, this plus sign here. Coming down underneath that to the next option is clicking on, and it's going to bring you your unread emails. It's actually going in and telling us that we've got 17 unread emails as well. Next one down is the sent items. So if you need to check any emails you've already sent out, you can come here. It will give you your sent. And then finally, we've got the trash icon, which we looked at before to see our trash. So let's jump in and actually start opening some of these emails and dealing with them. I'll just check in on the chat box again. So Sarah has got a question. Would like to see a bigger email pop up for emails so I'm not scrolling through the message. So what happens here, when we go to actually send an email, we'll come down, I can see, let's see, rescheduling a meeting with Bruce. So I know that I've got an actual task with Bruce. I'm opening up his email. I've got it here on the right-hand side. I can see everything I need. He needs to reschedule our meeting to 4 p.m. on the 24th. Now, as I've opened up Bruce's record, I can see over on the right-hand side, the contact record. So Ninjodo recognizes Bruce's email. It says, hey, I know Bruce. Here's all the other information you might want to see right now while you're talking to him. We do this because you may need to open up his record, look at it, open up the company record. I can click on those. It will just go straight out to those. But you'll notice it actually opened them in a separate tab. So I didn't lose where I was. I can just go back to my inbox and I haven't lost anything. You'll also see phone numbers. Quite often you get an email and you need to just make a phone call. So that's there. And on the right-hand side right now, I see the option to save a copy of this email, and it's telling me obviously to Bruce's record. So if this is important, maybe I need to have this saved on his record. Maybe I really don't. I mean, right now, this particular email address may or may not be important depending on the situation. So what I can do is just tick add email to notes, and that I know that's now saved on Bruce's file. I can look it up. It will be there when I need to see it. Right underneath that, though, is any task that's coming up or hasn't been completed with Bruce. So we can see that there's a meeting coming up. We can see there's a phone call. He's asking me to reschedule the meeting. So what I'm going to do is actually just edit this meeting, because this was the one that he wants to change. I'm going to move it to the 24th. So he wants to meet on a Sunday. We'll just go with it. And we're going to say 4 p.m. And yes, it's probably going to be a 1 hour meeting. Remind me 50 minutes prior to that meeting. I want to make sure that I've got plenty of time to get there. And then I'm going to choose more options and make sure that I send the updated calendar invite to Bruce so that it gets put in his calendar correctly. And I'll hit save. And that's now been updated. The meeting's now on the 24th at 4 p.m. and that's gone to Bruce's calendar, no problem. Okay, so we've got other emails here. Let's say I needed to also respond to here. I can come up to the top right of the viewing panel and just say, yep, I want to reply. And that gives me the reply window. So I'll click on here. Hi, Bruce. No worries at all. To meet up on Sunday afternoon. I assume there will be some delicious barbecue event, correct? And again, just like when we had the compose window open, I can use email templates here, save copies, attachments, etc. You'll also notice on those compose windows, along the top, you've got some basic formatting. So all of the things you would expect when you're trying to do a Word document or an email, you've actually got plenty of control. You can do bullets, numbered lists, even mucking around with alignment if you want to get really creative, put links in, put pictures, that type of stuff. This is fine for normal everyday email, just back and forth, hitting send email. Okay, so that email's gone off. I'll have a look now at other emails. So let's say I just want to purge a lot of this stuff. Now, we talked before about different ways that you can get through your inbox faster. So if I was to look here, one way we can do, I'll just reset our inbox. We'll go back into it this way. If you get a lot of emails, it's maybe 100 a day, and you want to make sure that you get through it, there's one method that you can try, and this is a 3-part process. So if you open it, you have to do one of 3 things. Either you reply to it then and there, or you just delete it because it's not important, or 3, you actually set yourself a task to handle it later when you've got more time or more appropriate information to go back to that person. The goal is to just get it out of your inbox so that it doesn't become this overwhelming monster that keeps building. Now, this is just a general notice email. I don't need to see this. Let's go to the next one down. And we've got an email from Alina. Now, this is a good example because on the right-hand side, it's showing me different things. It's saying, we recognize Alina, she's not part of a company, we see the email address, and add to contact. So what that means is Alina's not in the system yet. So if we want Alina to be in the system, what we'll do is come over here and click that button. But before we do, depending on how that person's email address is, or if they're part of a company, we might need to just edit this. So let's say I know Alina belongs to Ninjodo. I want to click on empty and actually create a company record. Now, it's also given me a drop down. So it recognizes Ninjodo is already in the system. So I'll just pop her into that company rather than making a new one. Click add to contact. Great, she's been updated, she's created. I can open her contact record now, she exists. And I can also come in here and click add that email to her file. If I want to delete this, it's not important, I can delete it. I can just come in here and go move to trash. So I've opened the email, I either reply to it, which I don't need to, I delete it, which I can do here, or I schedule a task for me to do something later. So this one's straightforward, move to trash. So that's one method that you can do. If you open it, either answer the email, delete the email, or set a task for later so that you can empty your inbox and be on with the rest of your work. Another good way to do, which is a little bit more committing, if I come up here and let's say I have all sorts of emails in my inbox, some that are marketing, some are newsletters, some are individual people, customers, some that I actually are important and I need to do something. Right now we've got 14. What I can do is just here on the left-hand side is click select all. So right now my goal is select all and I'm going to delete, but obviously there are emails in here I need to do something with first. So what I'll now do is go down my inbox and actually check the ones that are important and pop them open. You can see they're still marked. So if I need to keep them or for whatever reason, I would untick them. So this one's rubbish, it's a boring newsletter. This one went to the wrong person, delete that. Alina's spamming me, so I don't want to do that one. Bruce, another boring newsletter, not interested. Another boring newsletter. I can still click on these and just have a look, see, double check that that's nothing there. That's fine, unimportant, delete. Oh, there's a meeting there, so I can click that open and I can deal with it. So, hello Sensei, we have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow at 9:30, bring chocolate. All right. So I know I've got a meeting. I don't know who it's with, so I'm just going to hit reply. Say, yep, who's the meeting with? Make sure it's in my calendar and send, and that's done. I'll leave that in my inbox because I may want to refer to it later. Keep going down. Simon, here are my details. Pop it open. Yep, he's not in the system yet. He is actually, so cool. I'll hit enter. Save that contact. That's fine. Don't need to go back to him. Moving on. And just keep working your way down, unticking anything that's important. And I'll leave everything else ticked. So rubbish, 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 rubbish. And all of that's rubbish, and then click delete. And that's a quick way to get on top of your inbox so you can get through things. So just going to check into the chat feed now. Would there be a way to add a tag to a new contact from that right-hand screen? Yeah, so you can add tags. Wait, are we thinking for tags to the email or tags to the actual person? So right now, if I needed to put a tag on Simon, the idea here is if it's a brand new contact or a brand new lead or something, there's going to be more than a few things that you need to do. You want to put them into one of your workflows or your sales funnel. You may need to create a resource to do with a deal that you're working on. So what we do is create the initial record, save the email and do a response, and then click on Simon or whatever contact it is and open up their file and do whatever else needs to happen. So for example, moving them into our sales funnel, which Simon's already a part of. Actually, if anybody wants to send an email into that inbox, I can show you a fresh example, that's fine. If we come down to Clark, for example, and I needed to put a tag or a label on him, I can come over here, pop open his record. I've got his contact record now. I just click edit. And in his email, he told me he was interested in being a strategic partner of ours. So I'm going to click that. That's tagged him. I'll save those changes. And now that's done, it's on his record. So, only a few seconds, but the idea is that you do the email part that you need in your inbox and then get out of your inbox. We don't want to be spending 5+ hours a day in here. It's not effective use of your time, and it focuses your thinking in a way that isn't creative or isn't personal relationship building. It's things to do that I can't get on top of. So that's a pretty big overview of the inbox. The only other thing we didn't touch on is up here on the right-hand side, there's a little settings drop down. Now you see this in a couple of places in Ninjodo. And in this area, all it's doing is there a default label that you actually want to have loaded over here on the left instead of your unread emails? Personally, I always like to look at my unread first and make sure that they're empty. And I'll show you just exactly why that is. If I get through all of these, there should be none left now. If I click on that, I know I've got to all 4. Now if I look at my inbox, huzzah! A little bit of fun there to make sure that you feel appreciative that you got to the bottom and you reward yourself. So this is what we're chasing. We always want the trophy, that 0 inbox limit. All right, given we're punching up on an hour now, I'm just going to jump into the rest of things. So we want to look at ways for sending email from different parts of the system. So we can do it from here by using that compose window, but you don't actually need to be here to do it. You can send an email from many other places, in fact, most screens in Ninjodo. One place might be the dashboard. So down the bottom of your dashboard, there's actually a section called Recent People. And what this will do is show you the 20 most recent conversations you've had via phone call, email, logging notes, that type of thing. So on the right-hand side, we've actually got those quick contact details for easy reference. I can just click that email address, and there we go, I can send an email. If I was to go into the activity center, and I was working in one of my funnels, and I needed to send an email to Clark or Bruce or Lucius, in the top right-hand corner of each of these people is the email icon, and I can click on that, and it will also give me that compose window. If I'm on the People tab and I'm doing some searching, maybe I want to see all of my new customers, I could come in here and just type customer. And that's filtering my list on the right, gives me all my customers, and I can click on their email address. No problem. So anywhere you see an email address, just click on it and you can send the email from there. If I was even on a company record and I was looking and there's a few different people in here, I don't need to go into Logan to email him. There's also an email icon here. I can click that, send him an email. Last but not least, if you're working on a sale or a deal or a project and you're over here in that area and you want to keep all your emails in this section, you can be here and actually email from here as well. So the 2 things to look for, one is the email icon, 2 is an email address. And if you see either of those, you can click on it and you can actually send that person an email. So just to review, through the different areas you can send, you can do it from the dashboard, you can do it from the inbox, you can do it from the activity center, you can do it from people, you can do it from companies, and you can do it from the resource section. So almost everywhere where you're actually needing to do emails. Next, just popping down, I wanted to touch off on email templates. So we looked at it, we spoke about it before, we looked at it a little bit last week. If you need to create an email template that you're going to use again and again, and there are a couple of different examples that I can think of. If you're already using email templates in your business, can you pop over to chat and just let me know? And if you are, then let me know the ones that you are sending out. They do save tons of time because you can go from sending the average of 10 minutes on an email down to 4 clicks if you can create an email template. And even though we're using a template, what we can do is actually add to that template when we're sending it if we want to be a little bit more personal and make sure that it's not just generic. So things that I can think of are when we get inquiries, we might want to have a response go out to that new inquiry to start a conversation. We might have one called a kickoff questionnaire. So if we are actually starting with a new client, we might need them to fill in a form or print off a document or something like that. And we could do that by templating the email. So let's say I wanted to do, I'll just do this as a follow-up. So in my sales funnel, I'm talking with different clients. I need a follow-up email template. And my subject might be, how have you gone with that? And I now come down, I'll write my body. So hi. Now, because this is an email template, I'm going to send it to many different people over time. I don't want to type individual names. I need to use my mail merge features. So coming down the bottom to see what's available, I've got person's first name, person's last name, the person's company, or any of the contact details that are associated with that company. So all I need to do is actually just click on the tag. It pops it up into the email, and I'm going to cut it and move it where I want it to go. So hi, person, first name. Now, anytime I send that to someone, it's going to look at the contact record, grab their first name, and insert it into the email. So hi, it was great to speak with you last week or today or whatever you want. Remember, you can change this email as you send it, depending on how the situation might have changed. Just wanted to check in and see how you went reviewing XYZ. When would be a good time for us to speak again? Currently, I have tomorrow at, and I'll leave that blank to fill in later. Or I'm just going to put some underlines in here so I know that when I open this up, I need to insert something there. Tomorrow at blah, blah, or the day after at blah, blah, blah. Let me know if either of those work for you. Alternatively, what is your availability? So this is just something off the top of my head. You'll know what's going to work with your clients in your space. And I might just add off with a looking forward to your reply. So it's a nice, non-aggressive follow-up email that I can use in a lot of different situations. I could do it with clients, I could do it with sales leads, and I can fire that off and adjust it as I'm sending. So if I click Save Template, that's now one of my reusable templates. I can grab that from anywhere in the system that we just went through. So if I was over here on Clark, I can come over here, click on his email address, grab that one down here. We had one of these follow-ups. So we had two. Okay, here was the one that I just typed. And you can see it's grabbed his first name, it's ready to go, and I can click Send Email. And away that goes, and it's really, really simple. Next thing I wanted to touch off was using a professional signature. So can you let me know if you are currently using full HTML, pretty colors, links, and everything in your signatures? Jump over to the chat and just let me know if you're using a more advanced signature like the one that if we click on here, we can see. So we've got some color, we've got the business logo, we've got clickable links to a website, social media, contact information, that type of thing. Or if perhaps it's a little bit more simple and just says, kind regards, Simon. We've got some yeses, some yeps, fantastic. Everybody's on board with professional email signatures. So that's really, really good. A couple of tips that I'll add in that have started working really, really well that you may not have always thought about. I'll come back into the back of Ninjodo. So I've gone to my admin area, I've gone to email, and along the top here, I've got my company signature, and I want to make sure that I'm editing this, and that will be used for everybody in the account. So what I want to do is, rather than just listing our our website and expecting people to want to go there. What I want to do is think of a good reason to get people to go there. So recently on the Ninjodo website, we put out some new landing pages, and they go through each of the 4 areas of the system: increasing sales, managing contacts, simplifying your email, and getting organized. Now, different pages or different parts of the system might speak to different people. So I want to have a link to each one of these in my email signature, which gives different people a reason to go out to my website. So what I can do here is actually say, all right, I need to get that link, and I'll get rid of my website link, and I'm going to move my email up here. And I'm not going to bother with social media because I actually want people going to the website. That's most important for me as a business. You might be different. You might want to grow your social media channel. Science has proven, studies have shown, try this again and again. If you can ask someone a question, it makes them more likely to want to give an answer, even if it's subconscious in their head. So think about the service that you offer. So for example, Sandy, I would refer to you as a speaker booking agent. So we could think of, are you looking for a great speaker to present to your audience? Question mark. And I might just make that in italics. It looks a little bit more like it's a conversation that way. And then what I could do is put down our website. So ninjodo.com. And I might click here to see our great speakers. And then highlighting that link, going into my toolbar, choose the link option and insert. So that's just a way that people can see why they would go to your website or why they would go to your landing page. And you can get creative with the colors here as well. If you want to make sure you draw some attention to it, I want a foreground color. I want to make it stand out. I'll do bright pink. Why not? It's got nothing to do with my brand, but it stands out. Obviously, you're going to choose things that are going to suit your brand, suit your logo, suit your website so that they're getting a consistent message. But this is a great way to allow you to do that. You don't even need to do the click here part. You can just do it like that. Given that you're all already using email signatures, that's just an extra tip that you can add. One more to remember. Sometimes you might have a really sexy looking email signature that's been created by a designer, but it's an image. The whole thing is an image. So your logo's there, your photo might be there, your email address, phone number, website, etc. Very big downside using just one email picture, sorry, one signature as a picture. Nothing in that picture is actually clickable. That means that if they see your website, they can't click on it. You're making them go and type it in. If they see your phone number, they can't click on it and dial if they're reading that email from a mobile phone. If they see your name or they see your email address or your social media, they can't click on the information to actually instantly go to that page. And anytime you make people work harder than they need to, you're going to be hurting your conversions and having less people get engaged in your brand. It's not a fact that they're not going to find what you have interesting, but it is whether they've got time or feel like they've got time to do things. Any little bit that makes effort get rolled out might stop a conversation getting started and see what you otherwise have to offer, which is going to be wonderful, no doubt. The other most important thing is if you're only putting stuff in an image, and especially if that's your name and everything, when people review emails, not everyone says, yes, download emails from this person or at all. And that means they won't see your brand automatically every time you email them. They won't see your website. They won't see your social media or contact details, anything like that, unless they've got that turned on. So there's a couple of reasons why you want to make sure that you are breaking things up and actually using the email editors to create links and text and color rather than getting it done just in an image. So this is a way that you can create your email signatures. Once you're finished, you just hit Save Changes. I'll do that now. And then whenever you want to go and send an email, so it's really quick to change. You can flip it around from week to week, whatever you need, try different things. Anyone in my account now that goes to send an email, it's going to work for them. The only other thing that I'll touch on is just here, the support team. So if I was back here in my signature and I wrote, my name, that means our company signature has my name manually put into it, which means if Alina or anyone else on the team was to go and actually send an email, my name will come up for them. So what I need to do is actually use those mail merge features again. So what I'm going to do is get down here and have a look under user, which is us. Click on my first name. And I'm actually going to swap over that bit for first name. And I'm going to get last name. Now, if anyone knows what I'm doing here, just to make it look a little bit quicker and faster, I'm clicking 1, 2, I'll need to highlight that, highlight it, and on your keyboard, if you're on a PC, Control X. If you're on a Mac, I think Command X. Any Mac users, confirm that in the chat. And then I put the cursor where I want that to go, and I'm going to press Control Shift V or Command Shift V. I wanted to just get that formatting going. And what that does, that extra little bit, that Command Shift or the Control Shift, is match the formatting of where I'm putting this. Don't bring any plain text or color from somewhere else. If you're trying to copy things from a Word document or a website, you might have found or noticed that it comes in very interestingly, depending on whether this is whether it's here or somewhere else. It's because there's hidden HTML, which is the stuff that makes things work on web pages, makes it look like bigger or smaller or fatter or different colors. So that Control Shift V just makes sure that you're cleaning the information you're bringing in. So now I'll click Save Changes. And I'll come back here and we should see Simon Ogilvie insert. Actually, no, it'll be Customer Sensei when I click on this. There we go. So that's how you use mail merge features. That's how you create professional email signatures. And last thing that I wanted to cover off was a very big surprise. So we've shown you how to send emails. Not a problem. Click on the email address, do it from the inbox. Sometimes you might need to send multiple people the same email. So a bulk emailing feature. Now, usually you would do this if it's on a large scale in MailChimp, if you want to do for broadcasting, or some other email newsletter tool. But if you've got different suppliers that you work with or different customers that you work with, and maybe they buy different products from you or they supply different things to you, and you just want to email that segment of your database. Now you'll be able to use bulk emailing in Ninjodo to do that. So all I need to do is go to my people area, and I'm just going to bring up a little segment. So we created a follow-up template before, and I can see that I've got a few people here that need follow-up. So what I'll do, I'll actually do this from my activity center. Let's say I'm in here. I can see along the top I've got a couple of new leads, a few customers, 3 invoices pending, and 3 follow-ups. What I'm going to do is send 1 email to all the invoice pending people and 1 to all the follow-up people. So I click on that, gives me my 3. And now what I do is on the left-hand side, you can actually see a checkbox for each one. So I'm ticking, 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 and you notice there were 2 buttons that popped up. One was deleting, I don't want to do that. The other one is emailing the selected contacts. So all I do now, I've got 3 people I'm sending this email to. I'll actually undo that one. I'll just do it to the 2 of them. And you'll see it's going to email to 2 contacts. Now, I'm just going to write this one out. So regarding a recent invoice, and I'm going to put, hi, I'm just typing this one fresh, but you could use email templates. Just following up on the email that, the invoice we sent out earlier in the week. Could you please let me know when it is due for processing? And that's all I want, short and sweet. Now, just here, I've got hi. It hasn't given me, we need it to go to each individual person. So rather than typing the name, I'm just going to use that mail merge tag. So hi person, first name. Hi person, first name, it will use Simon, it will use Bruce, and away I can send it. Now, maybe I want to actually send an email template. So let's say I was doing this for the follow-up. So I'm going to go over here to my activity center, click on my follow-up option, gives me my 3. I'm going to send it to Anita and John, email selected contacts, and now I will get that follow-up email that we put in. So we've got that here. Now, we just launched this last night. So when you go and do this later on today, you'll see that mail merge person first name automatically come in here. What I'm going to do now is put in these 2 times. So I'll say tomorrow at 2 p.m. or the day after, which I'll change to, or what's today? Well, let's make it Monday at 10 a.m. And I'll get rid of that colon. And right now I'm going to type it, but just remember later on today, when you go and do this, or by the time you're watching this and you do it, you'll see it working. And I'll click person first name. And when I'm ready, send email. Now, because we're doing this in bulk, we want to be a little bit more careful than any other time. So it's saying, okay, you're about to send 2 emails. Are you happy to proceed? If you want to double check, just click on edit and it will take you back into that. Now I've got to do, I've got files that are caching on my computer. So bear with me 1 second. And imagine that's still filled in. I'll hit send email. Now, if I wanted to send that off, I'll just click yes, send now. And it's telling me that those emails have been added into the queue and they're going to begin sending. So as long as you can tick the box here on the left, it will go off to those people. We do a maximum of 50 per page. Now, in order to use the bulk emailing tool, you will need to have your outgoing mail settings set. And I do that again in my admin area under email. And there's a tab along here going outgoing mail. So I just click on that. And if you're on Gmail or Google, the settings are in the help desk. So no problem, you can find that. If you're not sure or you need a bit of support, just click on contact support and send it through. And then just make sure that next to each user, you've got their Gmail email address and the password that they log into Gmail with. And that will allow you to use the bulk email feature. Obviously, you want it to be enabled and not disabled for any reason. So as long as you've got your outgoing settings, you've got that feature available to you. So that's everything that I've had time to get out. Obviously, we went over time a little bit than normal, so thank you for your patience. I hope you got a lot out of it. I'm going to jump back in. We'll jump into Q&A. If there's anything left over, just fire it through in the chat box. I'm happy to answer anything at all, whether it's about what we've covered today or different things. So Sandy's got a question here. Can you also use this feature to email companies rather than people? So when we talk about email addresses, every email should be associated with a particular contact. So it's only available on the people area because we're emailing people rather than a business. If you have business contacts or new leads where you don't actually have a person that you're talking to yet, you may only have their info at or their admin at. What you can do is actually create that as a dummy person attached to the company, and it can just be called info. And then you can still use that feature to actually email those businesses that don't otherwise have people. As long as you've got a tag or a filter that you can attach to them, then you can send the emails out. Sarah's got one. Can you add a person to a flow from the inbox? That is a brilliant question, Sarah. Short answer is no, not yet, but I reckon that would be a fantastic feature to have in the system. So when you're logged into Ninjodo, if you go down the bottom right and click on, let me just jump over and show you, the click here for help, click on contact support and actually put that through as a feature request. So if we go question, we go suggestion, and just let us know that that's what you're thinking about, it would be great. For the meantime, if you're in the inbox, and this is, we touched on this before with, I need an actual email to open. We touched on it before, I think, when we were talking with Sandy around opening up an email, taking care of things straight away. And then what you can do is just click on that contact record. It will open their record up instantly. I haven't lost my inbox, it's still here, but I've got a new tab open with Bruce Wayne. And then on this page, on his record, I can add him into any sales flow or workflow that I need. So I might just put Bruce into the sales funnel. And we can see that that's prompted to have a phone call. So this is some of the workflow automation from webinar 1. It's saying that every time I put someone into a sales process, I want them to be having a phone call set for tomorrow morning to make sure I follow up. So I'll create that task. Why not? Fantastic to hear, Sarah. That's brilliant. All right, any other questions, anything at all, fire them through. What we might do is actually, if we don't get anything through in the next few seconds, is just finish up the visual part of the email, the webinar, but we will actually leave the chat box running so we can answer anything there as well. You've also got the help desk, the support desk. I'll just show you the training library again, just in case you haven't had a chance to get to it. So the training library, which we also deployed earlier last week, click on training. And in here, you can see the different videos that we've got currently available. You can also register for the webinars if you're not already on them. Obviously, you guys are, but anyone watching the replay or watching this from the training library or even the website will be able to do that via here. You can watch your past webinars, our past webinars that we're doing from there. Quick link to the Help Center, which has all of the different knowledge base articles, which we fatten up every time you guys send through new questions. We think of whether this needs to be in there or whether it's just a particular use case for you. And down the bottom here, I actually added another video last night around sending invoices in Xero in less than 30 seconds. So if you haven't been able to get across to Xero yet, you can watch that video in there as well. All right, given that, I think everybody is all out of questions. So like I said, we'll leave the chat box open after we stop the broadcast, and we can still answer them. We're here all the time, as you know. All right. Thank you, everyone. It's been fantastic having you on. Thank you for your patience, your time. I hope you got a lot of value out of it. It's definitely our longest session so far. Looking forward to having you back again next week, every Thursday, 11:30 a.m. Bye for now.